Call the Mars City Council regular meeting to order Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016. Would you please join me in pledging allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have roll call, Bev?
Nelson?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yep.
Rexbro?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to welcome everyone in the chamber today at our meeting. Lady from Mars Daily Sentinel is here, and particularly you people that are watching over television at home. Today, we've got several hearings, and the first one is a request for rezoning Dogwood Second Edition. At the April 19, 2016 meeting, the council set this as a date and time to hear public comment regarding proposed zoning change of Dogwood Second Edition, lots 1 through 7, from R, which is rural district, to R1A, which is medium density residential district, and lots 8 through 35 from R, rural district, to R1 residential district. At its April 5th, 2000 special meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended the zoning change. At this time, I'm going to open up the hearing and ask if there's any objections or comments to the proposed zoning change. I'll once again ask if there's any objections or comments to the proposed zoning change. Hearing none, I will declare the hearing closed at this time. The staff does recommend approval of the zoning. And council members, if you have any questions.
I'd make a motion approving the first reading of ordinance number 934, amending zoning districts.
Second.
Motion been made and second approving the first reading of ordinance number 934, amending the zoning districts. Could we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Goodchild?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Rexbro?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion carried. The second hearing is a request for rezoning GA edition. And at the April 19, 2016 meeting, the council set this as the date and time to hear public comment regarding the proposed zoning change of GA addition. The addition from R, rural district, to R1 residential district. At its April 5th, 2015 special meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended the zoning change. The addition consists of 3 lots. At this time, I'm going to open the hearing and ask if there's any objections or comments to the proposed zoning change. I will ask once again if there's any objections or comments to the proposed zoning change. Hearing none, I'll announce that the hearing is closed. The staff recommends the approval of the rezoning. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion approving the first reading of ordinance number 935, amending zoning districts.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second approving the first reading of the ordinance of number 935, amending zoning districts. Could we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Wick?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yep.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Rexbro?
Yes.
The third hearing is rezoning property in Noram. At the April 19, 2016 meeting, the council established this as the date and time to hear public comment regarding the proposed rezoning of 401 9th Avenue Southwest from residential, which is R1, to general business, which is B2. The property is owned by Noram Cold Storage. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended the rezoning at their April 5th, 2016 special meeting. At this time, I'll open the hearing and ask if there's any objections or comments to the proposed zoning change. I'll once again ask if there's any objections or comments to the proposed zoning change. Hearing none, I'll announce the hearing is closed. The staff recommends the approval of the rezoning. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion approving the first reading of ordinance number 936, amending zoning districts.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, approving the first reading of the ordinance of number 936, amending the zoning districts. Can we have a roll call?
I got a
Bev?
question on this. Dick.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
One question is, the construction that's going on down there, is that dependent on the rezoning? And if so, why is the construction started before the approval of this?
I don't think they started constructing anything in that corner yet.
No, on that piece of property.
Excuse me?
Yes, they have. All the construction goes right out to that corner.
Have they poured anything there, Greg?
Land footings.
Okay, so footings.
Well, I think that's kind of sloppy. And I don't know if it's the city or if it's NORAM, but I think it's real sloppy. Because we have not finalized the approval of this. And I don't think it's a big secret that it's gonna get finalized and approved.
Well, it's a risk they would take then, Clark. If you guys
But we
deny
allow
it, then they
but
would
we-
have to
but we're
remove the
allowing it.
footings.
We're allowing it, and that's, something's not right there. So, just wanted public to know that I think that that's not right.
Jason, due to the setback though, from the north right-of-way line, are you certain that the footings are on that parcel?
That's my question. That-
I appreciate the question, but I think the clarification might be that they have, contrary to what they could have done, they kept it off
They're in their bounds, okay.
they kept it off the right-of-way.
They're
by
like
a
40
certain
foot off
distance.
of the west side. Yeah, Greg, I don't know, you probably looked at them more than I
And I
have.
guess I've been down there a couple times during the last, I don't know, 3 weeks. I'm just going off of memory, but I want to say they're at least 40 to 45 feet from the sidewalk or thereabouts.
Okay,
Now, whether that falls within that particular piece of property that's looking at rezone, being rezoned, I
okay.
don't have a definitive answer on that.
That was my only question. I'm not against this, I'm gonna vote for it, but to start something before it's fully approved, I'm opposed to. So just,
In fact, I mean, if you wanted, the issue isn't so much what abuts, what is it, 4th Street there? Because if we
Yes,
wanted,
yes.
if we go technically by what the code says, you would consider that the rear yard anyway. Okay? So with the
Correct.
rear yard, they could get closer to that street. So it doesn't necessarily have to have the 25 foot back from the property line,
Okay,
like a
okay.
front yard would in a
right,
typical area.
right,
So the rear yard, they could have built to the property line,
right.
but they're keeping it off anyway, so there really is no concern.
Okay.
And they're far enough off of, what is it, the west side,
What,
because they're 40-some feet
Okay.
off of there. I mean, so I don't, it's a good question, and I think we addressed it all when they brought in the building permit anyway. And
Yeah.
so we didn't feel it was a concern
Okay,
at that
then
time.
that's fine. That it was posed as a question, that's all I wanted to, okay.
Does that answer your question,
The parcel appears to be 30 feet, and if they're 40 feet off the sidewalk, then your question is no, it is not violating anything
Okay,
at this
good enough,
point.
good enough. Okay.
We will have to verify that, however.
Okay,
Based on the map that you have before you, it would appear that that's the case.
okay, good enough. Thank you.
Any other questions? We do have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
There was.
Motion made and second approving the first reading of the ordinance 936 amending zoning districts. Could we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Knapp,
Yep.
Rexinger,
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Wick.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion waiving the second and third readings of ordinance number 936, amending zoning districts.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and waiving the second and third readings of ordinance number 936 amending zoning districts. Could we have a roll call, Bev?
Rexinger,
Yes.
Goodchild,
No.
Wick,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
Nelson.
Motion,
Yes.
motion carried.
Motion adopting resolution 936, amending zoning districts on the first reading.
Second.
Is there a second? Motion made and second, adopting ordinance number 936, amending zoning district on its first reading. Do we have a roll call, Bev?
Rexinger,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, moving on to the next one is a general discussion. And the way we handle our general discussion is we ask you to step to the podium and state your name and address. And the council is always willing and very good about hearing. If you have concerns, complaints, or compliments, by the way, we'd certainly appreciate them. So at this time, I'm going to open it for general discussion, and I believe Gary Horton has been asked to come up.
Like I said, I'm Gary Horton from Akron. I'm running for the Plymouth County Board of Supervisors, the District 5 position. Jim Henrich has held that position, and he's actually resigning at the end of the year. He had asked me if I was interested in running for it, so here I am. I grew up in Akron on a family farm, a dairy farm, just east of Akron, a few miles. We still have that farm. My brother and my sisters, we still continue to take care of it for my parents. I'm married to Teresa. We have 2 daughters that both live and work in Sioux Falls. I've worked for the city of Akron for 32 years. I plan on retiring this fall. I started out in the street department for 16 years, and the last 16 years I've been in public works and administration. I've had the chance to serve on several committees in Akron, the Akron Economic Development Committee, the Children's Center Board, the Health Club Board, and then I'm also on my church parish council. I've had the chance to work with several of Plymouth County's employees over the years. I think there's a lot of similarities between the 2 governments, the way they operate, and I guess I would appreciate your support on June 7th. So thanks for letting me speak to everybody.
Okay, thanks a lot, Gary.
You bet.
For coming and notifying us of it, and wish you well.
You bet, thank you.
Any more discussion? Anybody else have any discussion? Okay, if not, we're going to move up to the thumbs up award. John?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Clark?
Nothing, sir.
Steve?
You're going to think I live at the golf course, which is not necessarily true, but I want to commend our golf course, Brian and Doug and his staff again for the amount of rain that we just received in the last 2 weeks, and they didn't close the course one time. And in the past, that's been the history. When we've had a lot of rain, it hasn't been playable. And we haven't missed a day, and I commend them for that. It was really good.
Very good. They do a great job. I'm worried about the creek. It's getting a little higher, but
Coming back down.
I think she's going to be going down. Rex?
Yeah, I got a couple thumbs up, and if I need help, you can bail me out on this.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, I actually started the thumbs up. Wasn't there such a thing when I started on the council, so. Since I started it, I make my own rules, I'm gonna break my own rules. My mother got the award once when she turned 90. She passed away 10 days ago. It was doing my dad. 92 years, she's a great person. Everybody should go home and hug their mother, especially on Mother's Day weekend.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
You only got one, and when she's gone, you miss a part of your life. Item number 2, these people in Lamar's are flipping great. My family and I have got tremendous support over the past week. We're well over 100 cards, letters. I've had that many people stop me on the street, send me emails and texts. If you think you're not living in a good place, you're sorely mistaken. If this isn't paradise, it's pretty gosh darn close. Thanks.
Thank you, Rex, for those kind words. What you said is very, very true. I happen to know your mother, and we went to the same church, and every time we were ushering together, why she'd come in and I'd say, are you keeping him under control? And she always shook her head, yeah. Ken?
Well, if you can't hug your mother, I guess flowers are the next best.
Ken, there's no advertising here.
That light in the moment. I could still talk to her, and she said she's sitting on the bench up there with my dad with a box of chocolates. So so that's a picture that you guys can keep in your memory. Okay.
You have any, Ken? No. You got your picture on the flowers.
Yes, I can.
Okay, moving on to consent items. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. Today, we've got 5 of them. Approval of the April 19, 2016 regular meeting minutes, a list of bills for the period ending 4/30/16, an insurance renewal of liquor license for outdoor service of Bachers Sports Bar, SNS Barbecue Company, and Dingers. Number 4 is a request to close the street parking lot, Plymouth County Cyclists. And number 5 is the budget amendment hearing. Is there anyone of the council members want to pull any of these before we vote on them?
Motion.
Hang on, I want to recommend you add one more bill to the list of bills. We had an invoice come in yesterday afternoon. If you remember, about just short of 2 years ago, Mary actually came in on behalf of Main Street and asked for the council's participation in a grant for the beauty college. At a 25%, the city was, up to 37,500. Yeah, and the project is going, and part of the stipulations was once Anderson's had spent a certain amount of money, that would kick in, that the city would reimburse them 60% of what we had pledged, and that 60% comes up to 22,500. They've reached that criteria, so Main Street has already reimbursed Anderson's that amount, so now we need to reimburse Main Street for that.
Any questions on that?
I'll make a motion to approve items 1 through 5 with the amendment mentioned by Jason.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made in second to approve motions or items 1 through 5 with the amendment of 22,500 on number 6. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. The windows just came in yesterday, I think, didn't they? On that? Action items, tourism signage. Attached is a request from the Lamar's Main Street for the placement of 9 "You Are Here" signs at specific locations in the community. Also included is a graphic of the sign, along with the cost of having the signs made. The placement of the signs must be approved by the council because they will be in city right-of-way. Lamar's Main Street is also asking for the city to pay for the cost of signs, which is $4,544. The financial impact, the city would provide the manpower and the equipment to install the signs, and the $4,544 could be funded from the hotel motel tax funds. I think you all received the letter and the cost and everything in your packets last Friday. And Rich Zetloff is here, along with his other people, to answer any questions as far as the sign is concerned. I can share this with you, that I think it was 2 years ago, we hosted, or Jessica hosted the tourism group in town here, am I right, Jessica? And the head gal for the state had the opportunity to meet her, and she informed me that we needed signage this time. And that was 2 years ago, so I know you all been working on it, and just thought I'd let you know.
Right, and Richard Zitlow, and Vice President of the Main Street Program, and you've got the package. If you have any questions, just kind of explain what we have over here on the easel is the life size, real size, what it will look like. like you mentioned, the wayfaring, a couple years ago, we had Main Street people here, about a year ago, and they had the same comments, that once you get off the expressway or the bypass, how do you know where the downtown is? Once you get downtown, how do you find the ice cream parlors? Now that we have the Browns Theater here as well, and they have their bus tours coming in, one of the issues they raised was, where are the city parking lots? How do we find those, and how do we direct those? And once you're in the parking lot, how do you get to the theater, to the ice cream parlor, wherever you want to go? So all of that falls under the category of wayfaring or tourism signage. There's several layers to that, beginning all the way out on the exit until you get downtown into the parking lot, and how do I get to the public restrooms or any of those types of facilities. So this is just the first component of it, and we refer to it as the "You Are Here" sign, like you see in the malls when you walk up there, and it has a red star on it that says, "Here's where you are now," and points out where all the different locations are. So you can see in the handout the different businesses and event centers that we've included on the map. Team of folks came together to put this together. Involved in that was Shelley and Michaela Brown, Jessica Brown Miller, Steve and Barb Collins, Mary Reynolds, Greg Smith, and myself. So that's the team that has been working on this. This is, like I say, our first proposal here for the "You Are Here" signage. We will now look at the next 2 or 3 layers of signage as well, and hopefully bring recommendations to you as well for those. So the signs will be made, if you've seen the historic district signs that we have around town, those were produced by Iowa Prison Industries, and we're talking with them, and they've given us a bid on producing these. These will be a little bit different in that they're printed on both sides, so they're a little more expensive than the single-sided signs we did for the historic district. The poles, and you have a picture in your handout of what they're going to look like, will be side-mounted on standalone poles. We started with Gus Pesch to see if they could build them for us. As they got putting together their proposal, they worked with Capital Streetscapes, and they said, actually, we could do better just going directly to Capital Streetscapes. So we appreciate their honesty and pointing us in that direction. So that's where our estimates came from. Reg Printing did the graphic design for us, and we will basically send that whole image down to Iowa Prison Industries, and they will print that on the front and the back of the signs for us. We have identified 9 locations, including the city parking lots, and then at Central and Plymouth, and by the Visitors Bureau, and the other place, Central and Plymouth, Convention and Visitors Bureau, and then the Olson Center, and then the 6 parking lots. And the total cost, like you mentioned, is $4,500 for 9 signs that we'll be putting up. And talking with Scott Knipe, his crew, they'll actually be mounted. They will sink Telspar poles in, like you see the stop signs mounted on. They sink those in the ground, and then these slip down over the top and get bolted onto those poles. So, talk with them.
How high will they be, Rich?
They're 8 feet tall, and then the sign will be side mounted, basically at eye level.
So it'll be pretty easy to read then?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, this will be the actual size of the sign. The pole will be 8 feet tall. Any other questions?
Questions for Rich?
I'd make a motion.
I just want to say this, that we're in the process right now of kicking up our tourism program just a notch. And one of the reasons we are, and this is the start of it right here, one of the reasons we are is we've had many compliments and just many compliments of what a great city we've got here. And the timing's right to do this, I think, is the ice cream parlor has always been headquartered and always will be a drawing attraction to this town. But I'm gonna tell you something, since the Browns have came to town and decided to make Lamar's home, there's a lot of interest in that. And so what we need to do is get behind that whole program, and not only where they go to the ice cream parlor, these busloads, or the Browns, we got other things in town to show them. And so we're in the process right now is organizing a program to where we can pick up that need and show them a lot of the things about this town. And so that's one reason why we're off to this start. Am I right, Rich?
Correct.
Yeah. So, anyway, go ahead, John.
I make a motion to fund the signs, the $4,544 with hotel motel tax funds, and use city manpower and equipment to install the signs.
Second?
Motion made to pass the program of the tourism signage program, and the city people will help install it and put it together. Is there a second? Or you just said? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
I want to share one other thing with you, that our tourism program overall was started 8 years ago. Rex Knapp was on the program, and myself and Scott, and I forget who else. But one of the things that we had to try to get organized, the fact that we're all working together as a team. And that's when we formed the CVB program. I went back about 3 weeks ago and took a look at what the results were, and our bookings are up, and our income is up at our Convention Visitors Bureau Center. Our tourism program, they call them heads on bed, is that right? Jessica, what you call it? Our head on bed people, which means there's more people staying in our motels. The revenue's up on that. So the program's working. And I think now's the time to, like I say, kick her up a notch, and I think there's plenty of room to go yet. So just wanted to keep everybody informed as to where the program was at. Okay, moving on. Discussion. John?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Clark? Steve?
Yes.
Rex?
I just might add to what was mentioned on the program here today. It would be nice if the tourism committee would maybe sit down and think about sitting down with restaurant people, maybe with their employees, because so often that's an area where people want to get information and how to get the ice cream parlor and et cetera. And I know a lot of the help probably not privy to all that or doesn't think about it, but it's a real connection point for people who are in our community. I know I get done my bike ride down to Bob's and I give out more information on where the ice cream parlor is than anything else. So the committee might consider that.
Just to update you on that, Ken, it started 2 weeks ago. We're trying to put together a total package, to not only where people go, but what we have to offer and things like that. And one of the big factors is I went out and met with every motel manager and owner that we've got. And we are now going to be incorporating them into this new package to what we're trying to do. And so you're right. Any information we can give anyway.
Sure.
It just makes people just feel more comfortable when they come to town. I hear over and over, man, that's a friendly town, or man, that's a clean town. And we need to take advantage of that. Okay? Anything else, Ken?
No, that's it. Thank you.
I've got one thing, and that is, this is the council members and the administration people. I happen to be on the Northwest League of Municipalities, which is an organization that is put together by cities, council members, mayors, city administrative people. And we're going to be hosting this in the Mars on June 9th. I'd sure like to have a lot of participation if we could at that, so I wanted to announce it today so you can put it on your calendars. But we will be hosting it. The topic's going to be the Foreign Trade Zone program, and so it's going to be out at Willow Creek Golf Course.
Time on that?
5 o'clock social, 6 o'clock lunch or dinner, and 7 o'clock the meeting. Okay, Scott?
The only thing I have is the 5:15 meeting today on the comprehensive plan.
Okay, good point.
And I would ask everybody here to please be there and give your input. I think a good, well-constructed comp plan is totally dependent on the participants that step forward with vision for what Lamar's could look like 20 years down the road. So we need a whole lot of just creative thinking, I think, this afternoon.
And they only got an hour to do it.
And, yeah. Kirk Lehman is going to officiate the thing, and he stays on schedule, so
Yep.
we're gonna try to do it within an hour.
Okay. Anything else, Scott?
That's all I have.
Greg, did you have something?
Just briefly, you should all have it in front of you. I was asked yesterday if I would just quickly go over the building permits and the revenue that's been generated over the last month and year-to-date. For the month of April, we had 4 single-family housing permits issued, brand-new homes, bringing in a revenue of $4,100 and valuation costs of $660,000. The new current home remodels were 2 permits issued for $886 and approximate valuation of $100,000. Garage additions were just, let me see here, accessory buildings were nothing for last month. We did have one 2-unit apartment request. That's the multifamily unit, bringing in just short of $800 in permit fees and $125,000 valuation. Bring our total at the bottom for the month of April at $6,210 for permit fees and $912,000 for total valuation. Bringing our, and you shift to the right side of your page, bringing our year-to-date revenue, permit revenue brought in at $45,624,000, which is over twice as much as we brought in a year-to-date last year at this time. And then the valuation of $12,249,608 for total valuation of all the projects that are going on as of right now, year-to-date, which again is over twice as much as it was a year ago at this time.
Just to change it.
Yeah, good job. Greg, I gotta ask you, or Greg,
I said good training.
this is calendar year, right?
This is 2016, January to the
First 4
current.
months.
Yep, January, February, March, and April.
All right, thank you.
So,
Hey, Greg,
and
I
the biggest boost was last month on the NORAM project, which the permit alone was over $36,000, with just short of $11 million in valuation.
I got a curiosity question. How do you come up with a value on a new single home for price? I mean, what?
It's part of the application process when the resident or homeowner
Puts a value on there?
puts a value or places a value of the construction costs. That's what the permits are based off of.
That wouldn't include the lot, correct?
Pardon me?
Doesn't include the lot.
It does not include the lots, it's just the construction costs.
Just
So-
curious on that. Thank you.
Good question.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Craig. Scott?
Jason?
I got, Jason?
Yeah, I just had 2 things. It is spring cleanup week, so I just want everybody to take advantage of that opportunity. And then just a progress update on Highway 3 and Central intersection. This morning I did receive the permit from the DNR for the project, so.
DOT?
Or DOT, what did I say, DNR? DOT.
Go fishing out there.
Yeah, that's right. But, so we did get that in this morning, so they've okayed it. So then I guess it's just a matter of contractor getting hired.
Scott, did you have something else?
Well, the other kind of cleanup day is for appliance and tire on the 11th of May. So you won't meet again and that'll happen, so.
And electronic too? Is that coming up too?
That's coming up, but that's not until June.
Okay.
I think it's 20.
Okay. Where's the
Or
drop
what
off?
time is it?
It's a Saturday, 21st.
21st.
May 21st, Saturday is the drop-off out back here, May 21st.
Oh, okay.
For
I
computers.
apologize. Thank you.
There's a
May
hazard.
24th is your hazardous materials, paints and stuff at the old Public Works building. With that hazmat trailer for any paints or
Didn't
anything
ask the
like
right
that.
guy.
That's May
Yeah.
24th.
Thank you.
Thanks for the information there, Chief.
I'm keeping an eye on that hazmat stuff, Dick.
Well, I
That's
tell
what
you
I'm doing
what.
for you.
And hey, as bad as I really look forward to Central and Highway 3 project, are we gonna kinda wait till after summer's over and make sure the majority of our tourism, or, you know, to get that, because that'll probably be rather invasive for a couple weeks, I'm assuming, wouldn't it?
Yes, on the last part. Central will be closed. One-way traffic, one-way in each direction traffic on the highway.
3.
So, and there will be no turning movements because Central will be closed. But it'll be a significant project.
I just wondered if we wanted to, when we go out for bids or look into contractors, if we wanna, you know, really try to keep that in mind for activities downtown, you know, at least the big ones.
Ice cream days. At
Ice cream.
least till July, 4th of July is over.
Ice cream days, 4th of July, and then you get into homecomings, and I know you can't dodge all the bullets, but, you know, it would, you know.
Is there a date set?
No, I don't think so.
A date has not been set.
No, that's what I'm saying, in the bid process, I didn't know if we wanted to look at dates as part of that process.
Oh, we certainly will.
Yep, okay.
Question for Scott. When is Vanderpool pulling the trigger on the water main?
A request has been made for pre-construction, and we have yet to fully set that, so we'll be setting that shortly
Okay.
as a pre-construction date.
And we'll be doing some street
Not that
work.
I'm disappointed that you missed Mother's Day.
Well, Vanderpool happens to be awarded 14th Avenue East, the new road south of 12th Street, and then also 12th Street for 2 blocks there by the fire station number 2. And then finally, the water main project on Business 75. So we really got to sit down with Jerry Russ of Vanderpool and figure out dates.
And the water main on 75 will be in concurrence with resurfacing, street work.
Well, the restoration work will be in sync with that, yes. CTS was hired just recently, and you probably saw some crews out there core drilling that slab.
Yep.
So to give information to Slofeld Engineering that you approved to do the engineering work, we now have 23 cores indicating the thickness of the asphalt that's overlaying the concrete underneath, and we know what the subsoil conditions are. And so that just recently came into my office, and just this morning I delivered it to Slofeld. So more on that to come as we pull that project together.
But we plan to do that yet this year with TIF funding?
Absolutely, John. Yep.
Okay.
I
And
think
that
there-
goes all the way to,
Truck stop corner.
well,
No,
we're gonna
no.
go further than that. We're
Oh,
gonna
on the
go all
white
way-
topping, I'm sorry.
The white topping will go from Iowa Highway 3, south end of return, so it's the southerly side of that intersection, all the way south for 1.7 miles. That is the distance to the point where the asphalt turns to new concrete, Portland cement concrete, which is about halfway between Airport Road and 18th Street. So it's 1.7 miles long, and there's only one exception, and that'd be the intersection with 12th Street, because that's already Portland cement concrete. From north end of return to south end of return is already, we did that just several years back. So we'll skip that, and that's good news, because then people can get across. And we